we're going to take a look at finding multiples of matrices. And we're going to actually go to a site called matrixcalc.org. So have that handy ready to go. Maybe pause this video and open it up in another tab. Again, we have this graph here, and I'm going to just erase these little pieces, because what we're going to do is just learn how to get that matrix done quickly. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and use that calculator to find 2 walks and 3 walks. So let's look at this. It's a 3 by 3. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a square, and then I'll have my 3 columns, and then I'll have my 3 rows. Again, this is an undirected graph. So I have V1, V2, V3, V1, V2, V3. All right. So I look at V2 and I see a loop. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 1 in there. And then there's zeros in these other ones. Now I look at V1 and it's only connected to V2. There's nothing connected to V3. If I look at V2, there's the loop. And then I have 2 connected to V3. And then I look at, let's see here, V2 also has a connection to 1. And then I look at V3 and I have 2 connected from V2 and nothing from V1. So this would make our matrix 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 2, 0, 2, 0. Okay, so that is considered a 1-edge walk or path. Here it's going to ask me a question: how many distinct walks of length 2 are connected? Connect V2 and V2. I really like that would be, and for example, going to 3 and coming back, or going to, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all you've got for that one. So what we're going to do is look at how we come up with what's called A2 or A squared, and then an A3 graph. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write down this matrix. You'll want to have it handy because you're going to another site. So 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 2, and 0, 2, 0. So where we're going is a site called Matrix Calculator. And I'm going to click on this thing called cells. And what that does is that gives me space to write what I need to write. And so then I'm going to put in 0 for that one, 1 for this one, and 0. So I'm just putting in my matrix as what I've had before. So 1, 1, 2. And this one is 0, 2, 0. All right, so down here is where it has me go ahead and put what it is that I want to put in there. So I want to take A times A. And if I hit go, what that does is that gives me a second matrix. So I'm going to take a picture of this. I'm going to slide it in. I'm going to put that in here for my A2. Not quite so big. All right, and then I'm going to go back to that matrix calculator, and then I'm going to multiply another A, and it gives me another one. So I'm going to go ahead and take a snapshot of this. Grab this one. And of course, on your paper, you would go ahead and write that down. So I want to grab the other one right here and pull that in here. Okay, so look at what this means it's asking me a question here. How many distinct walks of length 2? So that length 2 is the one that tells me that I'm looking at a squared. I want to connect V2 and V2. Well, my column for V2, my row is here, and then my column is here. So that tells me that there's 6 different ways that I could walk from V2 to V2. Okay, so this would be A6. Okay, let's see what the other side says. Finding the number of walks of a given length is find adjacency matrix and then multiply it with itself. That's what we just did. Okay, so here we're going to look at this adjacency matrix, and it wants us to know walks of length 3 and walks of length 2. So I need to take this adjacency matrix and write it down just like I did with the previous one. So I have 1, 0, 1, 2, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 2, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0. Now that I have this, I'm going to go back into my adjacency matrix. Okay, so back in this one. Now, when I had this before, I had a 3 by 3. So I'm going to click on this plus button, and that will give it to me as a 4 by 4. So I want one, let's see here, get back in here. I'm going to clear this. Yes, I want to clean that up, and I want to put 4. So I want 1, 0, 1, 2, and 0, 0, 1, 0, and 0, 2, 1, 1, and 0, 1, 1, 0. Okay, so that's my adjacency matrix, and I want to first just find the square. So that's going to be this one. So I'm going to go ahead and get a picture of that. And then what I want to do is I want to multiply it by itself again. And I'm going to snag this one. All right, let's go back into my piece here. So I've got 2 that I got to bring in. So the first one is to bring in A2, and the next one is to bring in A3. All right, so let's go ahead and label this. This is A. This is A squared, and this is A to the 3rd. All right, so now what we're going to do is if it says length 2, I'm going to go to my A2. If it's length 3, I'm going to go to my A3. And then from here, I'm just looking at A3. I'm just looking at these directions. All right, so let's look at this first one. Find how many walks of length 2 are there from V2 to V3. So V2 to V3. That means row 2, column 3. Remember how we said the ins were the columns and the outs were the rows? So row 2 would be this row, and then column 3 would be this one. So if I want to answer that question, my answer is 1. Okay, because I have this. Let me see if I could do it in another color here. Right, this is what I'm looking at. Row 2, column 3. The next one says, how many walks of length 3 are there from V1 to V4? From V1, so I'm looking at column or row 1, and then to V4, I'm looking at column 4. So row 1, V1. Sorry, this is giving me a hard time here. V1 to V4. That would be row 1. And column 4. So row 1 and column 4 gives us 6. So our answer to that one would be 6. All right. So that's what you guys are going to do on your practice 5.6 is you'll go ahead and go straight to the matrix calculator and use that to determine what your A2 and your A3 are. And just know that from row to column, and you should be able to be successful. And you should be able to also complete your review 6.3 to 6.5.